Hey there, so this right here is my Stratocaster copy. It's a very cheap guitar that my dad got me, and it's my first ever electric guitar. I hold this guitar very near and dear to my heart, but it has a few issues with it. So today, I'm going to be doing some really simple, easy modifications that you can do to your guitar at home to get it playing and sounding amazing. So, let's start. This is my guitar on the floor, neck is laying on a brick with a towel over it. So to do these simple modifications, you're gonna need 2, maybe 3 things, okay? First thing I have is a little foam sanding block. You can get these at your local hardware store. I literally got this for $1.80. They are super cheap to get. Second thing I got is some steel wool, which I might use this outside so the shit doesn't get everywhere, but I got some super fine steel wool. This is also only a few bucks. Final thing, which you can use a t-shirt for this, but I got some microfiber cloths. So, first thing you wanna do is loosen off. Get rid of a bunch of tension. Basically enough so you should be able to take it out of that nut slot and put it into the next one so it stays out of the way. With the strings with very low tension, there's about 3 different things that we're gonna do right now. Basically, what you wanna do is get some graphite, get some lead out of a pencil or something. I'm using little graphite sticks out of a pacer or mechanical pencil, and you're gonna put this in the nut right where the strings go. Now what this is gonna do is lubricate the nut so there's less friction on the strings, and it should help with tuning stability to keep your guitar in tune for longer. Alright, so for this next step, you want to get a screwdriver. So this one is also going to improve tuning stability. Now as you can see down here in the neck, these string trees here, there's a lot of down pressure being put onto the strings. So it goes to the nut and then it goes down a lot, then to the tuning pegs. Now of course this isn't necessarily a bad thing. You do want just a little bit of down pressure there, or at least for there to be a straight line from the nut to the string tree so it doesn't go above the nut at all and doesn't cause any buzz. Okay, so I did a really bad job of explaining this in the original recording, so I'm just going to explain it again. Basically what I'm doing here is removing both string trees and replacing the one that was meant for the 1st and 2nd string with the one that was made for the 4th and 5th. What this basically does is reduces the down pressure that's put on the 1st and 2nd string, and will just overall improve tuning stability. Okay, that should do just fine. If you wanted to do even better, you could get a plastic or a different material spring tree to have even less tension or friction. But I don't have another string tree available right now. Anyway, on to the next bit, which is the slightly more risky bit, but it's still basically no risk to your guitar. You just need to be really careful with how much you do it. So a very common issue for cheaper guitars is that the fretwork is not fantastic. Now, overall, this neck is pretty comfortable to play on for me, but there's definitely some sharp areas where there's a little bit of fret sprout, and there's just other areas where I feel like it could be more rounded off, a little bit smoother. So you want to get a soft sponge. You can use this with files and go individually per fret, but I find this works really well for not only doing the frets, but the edge of the fretboard as well. Now this is where you got to be really careful. You do not want to put any down pressure on this. You just want to slightly go back and forth with no pressure on the fretboard itself. You want to find the same angle that the frets are at and just run it back and forth. Alright, now you don't want to go nice and light, but after a bit it should be absolutely fine. Run your fingers along this fretboard, barely any snags, it's just nice and smooth. Now, next things next. I'm going to use this microfiber cloth to just wipe down everything. Okay, so the next step is going to be the truss rod adjustment, because I noticed that when my strings are tightened and the guitar's in tune, towards the lower end, the action is just a little bit too high for my liking. And I can see that the neck is forward just a little bit, so I'm going to increase the tension on my truss rod to bring the neck back just a little bit. You don't want a back bow, you want to do just tiny little adjustments until it is to your liking. But yeah, make sure you do not overdo it. So you just want to tighten. You don't want to overdo this. Okay, it's pretty dead on straight now. Might even loosen it just a tad. Okay, so it looks like there is a slight bit of rocking back and forth, which means I need to loosen it just a little bit. A little bit of bow going forward is absolutely fine. Honestly, kind of recommended, but anything more than that, totally unnecessary. All right, so you can get a little bit of steel wool here like I have, and you can just polish up these frets a little bit, get them shining again. Okay, so here I am polishing the frets with my steel wool. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm going to work on intonating the guitar, which is basically tightening and loosening the intonation things on the back of the bridge until the open string and the octave up, which is the 12th fret, both are matching with the same note. This will basically just make sure that your guitar is in tune all the way down the neck. This is a very slow process. I was using the tuner on my amp. Just take your time with it. Basically, if the octave is flat, you want to tighten it, and if it's sharp, you want to loosen it. That's basically it. Okay, and here is the finished guitar. Let me see if I can show you. I even drew a little Fender thing on the headstock there. It's very convincing, I know. But just for a quick overview of what we did to this guitar, swapped over this string tree here so there's less down pressure on the strings and the headstock. Put some graphite in the nut to reduce friction in the strings for better tuning stability. We went along the fretboard here with some sanding and just smoothed it out so it's more comfortable and easy to slide your hand up and down. Polished all the frets with steel wool, wiped down the guitar just overall, and we fixed up the intonation a little bit. It's still not perfect from what I've done, but it's a lot better than it was. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've done to this guitar. Here is a little sound test that I recorded earlier, just to show you what it sounds like. So there you go, that is how you at home can turn your cheap guitar into one that plays like a high-end Fender. Now I'm actually planning to do a bit of a series on that guitar back there where I completely overhaul it. I'm talking changing its pickups, giving it a paint job, changing the pick guard, giving its neck a new finish, everything. I'm going to basically turn it into a new guitar. So if you want to see that series, make sure you stick around and see when those videos release. Also another shout out to my Buy Me a Coffee down in the link down below, and as well as my Patreon and my PayPal if you want to support me those ways. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video.